What time is it? It's time for another Every Other Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay, we're on.
There will be eerie silence now.
Yeah, you warned us not to say anything. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Every Other Wednesday.
Is that what this is?
Thank you. Are you welcoming me, Jeff? Thank you.
Yeah, so we're welcoming your new backdrop. I still think it looks like bed sheets.
It is not.
So you haven't gotten up yet, right? You're still in bed.
I'm actually lying down and holding my laptop above my
You
head.
say bed sheet. I say it looks eerily like prison, like it's a cell of some sort.
Oh, geez.
No. Why would it?
Morning, Jen. Hey, good morning. Hey,
we have a question for everybody. We always start with a question. So in the chat box,
but first, Sanjay has a job to do.
Oh, geez. As everyone enters the Every Other Wednesday Zoom room, we'd like to remind you that some people, they default, when you write a message, it defaults to panelists and hosts only. And if that is the case, we'd ask you to drop the little drop-down menu and make it to everyone so that everyone can hear your wisdom and thoughts. And if you're Michael Kerr, then everyone can just see your comments, not necessarily wisdom, but there you go.
I just wanted to write a test message. So the question in the chat box is very simple today. What grade was your favorite grade or level or what else would it be? Or class, I guess. Grade 13. There's a Canadian for you.
There you go.
Not in Western Canada, it's not.
Not grade A. I knew Carol was going to say that. I just knew it.
No, she's referring to eggs.
Hey, be nice to Carol, but be nice to Carol. She said she's so excited to see all four of us.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
That's very sweet. That's very kind of you, Carol. We're always excited to see you.
Fritz remembers his first grade. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I do too. I was petrified.
I was in a one-room.
Do you know why I was petrified in first grade? You know why I was petrified in first grade? Because my mother taught at the same school, and she was in the next classroom.
Oh. I thought it had to do with someone turning you into stone. You looked at Medusa, so you were petrified.
No.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
I think probably for me would be sixth grade.
Oh, I was going to say sixth grade, mostly because I was madly in love with my sixth grade teacher.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Sixth grade teacher.
Mrs. Robertson.
Mine was grade 13 as well. So
too bad it wasn't Mrs. Robinson. Then you could sing the song.
She was my Mrs. Robinson.
Hey, 3 out of the 4 of us went to a grade 13. How's that?
Wow.
What do we have in common?
2 out of 4.
3.
Who?
Oh, Fritz says first grade is when they figured out I couldn't read because I couldn't see. A pair of glasses changed my world. Isn't that the truth? Not kindergarten. Carol didn't like kindergarten. They lined up to take us to the bathroom. She didn't have to go, so she just started walking home. That's Carol. We love that.
All right, why don't we get started, guys? Welcome, everyone.
What day is it?
Michael Kerr, what day is it?
It is. Is this backwards?
No.
It's August 21st, 2021.
Do you have to write it backwards?
No, it's not. August 21st. What?
2020. You said 2021.
What did I say? 2021.
Yeah.
It's 2021. We better get our masks on.
Pandemic. I don't even know what century we're in.
Michael, with that,
2024.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Mike?
I will. I'm Michael Kerr, coming to you from Canmore in an undisclosed location in my house because there's a technician working on something in my office right now. And I speak on inspiring workplace cultures, which I talk about in my latest book, Small Moments, Big Outcomes, How Leaders Create Cultures That Fuel Extraordinary Results. And today's theme days, because I know you want to know, it is official Poets Day, Spumoni Ice Cream Day, Senior Citizens Day. So hello to a couple of our panelists.
Yeah, define senior citizen.
Define senior, and it's Internet Self-Care Day. So that's me. Richard, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, great. I'm Richard Haddon, and I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I live, and that's where I am today. And I'm an author and speaker. I wrote Contented Cows Give Better Milk and all the other Contented Cows books. And I talk about employee engagement, leadership, recruiting, retention, and all of that good stuff.
Jeff, why don't you introduce me? I mean, yourself.
I'm Sanjay Nath, and I'm Jeff Tobe, coming to you from beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I speak about customer experience and employee engagement as well. And I'm excited to be here. Sanjay, you're up.
My name is Sanjay Nath. I am based just outside of Toronto in Oakville, Ontario. I am a speaker and author, and I focus on leadership and performance. And the four of us come together every other week on Wednesdays to discuss culture issues on every other Wednesday.
Right. And what are we doing today?
We all happen to be wearing blue shirts.
Yes.
No, mine's black.
Who wants to lead this and tell them what we're doing? Because I've never done this. So.
Oh, we're about to do something Jeff's never done. Yeah, we're going to have an Ask Us Anything session today. And so we've done this a couple of times over the last 4.5 years. And that is where we just want to open it up to you and ask you, what are some burning issues that you have, hopefully organization, climate, and culture related, but they can be about pretty much anything that we might be prepared to answer. So we'd love to hear from you. And like it says, ask us anything.
Yeah,
we ask us anything, topic, inspiration, sometimes ideas maybe you want to share that we could riff off of and add to, wherever you want to take the conversation.
Yeah.
Personal questions are accepted as well, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Especially about Sanjay.
Yeah.
Yes, we sometimes call this brain trust, the brain trust session, because if we maybe have an experience of something that we've heard from an organization doing, we'll share, but also to hear from the group itself. So if anyone has questions about anything or along those topics, please do start typing them in. But I actually want to tap on something that Richard just said, which blows my mind. 4.5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is crazy. 4.5 years that we have what? Over 100 episodes?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, we're close.
Well, oh, really? We haven't hit number 100 yet?
Then the math doesn't work out. Then the math doesn't work out.
Don't give anything away.
I'm
going to have to check and see what date that's going to be.
No, whoa. The math isn't working. 4.5 years. 4 years should be 104 episodes.
Okay, not quite 4.5, because I think we started in May. We started in May, and this is August. So
you guys know how I am about numbers.
Yes, just support him.
Be accurate, damn it.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah. And
I have a question.
And Rob Morris, thank you. Very good to see your name as well.
You know,
so we're waiting for our first question.
You ever see the movie or the play Chicago? There's a song in it, Invisible. That's how I feel today. For some reason, I'm just talking and nobody's listening. So I'm going to hang up now.
That wouldn't be invisible, Jeff. That would be inaudible.
Oh, okay. As people are thinking of questions, can I ask a question that's been on my mind? As you know, I do a lot of work with a large organization. I was working with them last week, and it just at the water cooler talk, the subject of politics came up. And obviously, this is a hot topic in the States right now, and I'm sure in Canada, I've heard that it will be a hot topic soon enough. And here's me trying to mediate, and 4 people and myself, and they were just killing each other. and these are supposedly friends and workmates. And so I'm curious what your thoughts are and how people can approach that.
Well, what do they say, right? What do they
very carefully?
I don't want to discuss specifics, but it's pretty obvious one way. Sorry?
Religion and politics. What are the big no-no? What are the big no-nos?
Yeah.
Right?
Carol, the subject was politics in the US. I'll just say that. So it occurred to me, culture-wise, that can kill a culture immediately. Like, you'd spend all this time building a team and values, and somebody talks about their political leanings, and in all cases they apologize first. It was kind of odd, I know we shouldn't talk about politics. I'm sorry, but I just want to.
But
yeah, exactly. So just if you had any thoughts.
There's a lot of articles that I see float by my stuff that talks about this very issue, right? Especially with the polarization that's happening, well, in a lot of countries, but especially in the States, I think.
Right.
And all agree it's pretty extreme right now. So how do you navigate that? Are you proactive and you set up some guidelines and say, okay, given how heated and personal these conversations can become, we would ask all our employees to just leave their politics at home. That's certainly one approach I know some companies have done.
I don't like that approach, because if it's so ingrained and it's so personal to you, you cannot leave it at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's part of who you are, it's easier said than done, because then people feel like they're walking on eggshells. I can't talk about politics, but all I want to do is talk about politics. And it doesn't. You can replace the word politics with dogs or sports. In fact, I actually look at the whole thing and I draw the analogy to sports. You know, you come to the Super Bowl time and there are two teams and there's a lot of banter back and forth. And most people, it's healthy. It's fun. We have a little side bet. We get some chicken wings, some pizza, and we have a good time. But some people emotionally get connected and they're truly devastated or truly elated, and you can have a lot of clashing. So I think that the important thing is that people have to show up mature enough to kind of go, here's my opinion, and in the right venue, I will vent or express my opinion, but I should hopefully have enough self-awareness to know when to back the heck off. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. And so I think the approach becomes, how do you neutralize those conversations with people who are in the deep end?
Well, I was thinking that this is the ultimate definition of psychological safety, that they felt safe to have this conversation. Now, it wasn't appropriate. But I will tell you how I ended it. I was very proud of myself. There's a little lull in the talk, and I said, Susan, what religion are you? And she looked at me like I was out of my mind. And then it just like dawned on her what I was doing. So they stopped. But we do have a question that I'm going to go to.
Sorry, can I just make one point on this, though? Because I do find this a fascinating conversation. Don't you think it's a little sad that we have these topics that we all are taught that they are not appropriate to talk about? Here's what I think the issue is. We don't know how to talk about them. It's not the topic.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And how sad is that? That politics affects everybody. It's one of the biggest things we should be talking about. We should be having healthy conversations, and yes, even healthy, passionate debates about it, without it getting personal, without it turning into attacks, and truly hearing each other out. But we're not taught from a young age how to have these difficult conversations about politics and religion and these contentious issues.
We're given superfluous, idealisms like, it's your right to vote, it's your democratic duty, and all that stuff. And I don't believe that. I don't think you should vote because you can. I think you should vote because you're informed. And how do you get informed is by having those discussions. But to Michael's point, that just because a lot of this is under the rug, you're not supposed to talk about it. Well, then how do you learn, right? Anyway, so
well, if
and at the same time you have an
sorry, if it involved asking questions of the other person to truly educate yourself, that's different than just espousing your meanings and your feelings. Sorry, Richard.
Yeah, no, this is interesting, and I like the chat activity as well. It's not so much about not talking about, as you said, it's not about not talking about politics. And I think the issue is not so much that we might have people who disagree working together, because we know that we're going to have that unless we're working for the fill in the blank, national committee for a particular party. But to say, let's see if we can have a conversation where we can still continue to respect each other and to have and be productive. I mean, at work, the idea is to be productive, right? Anyway, and so at the moment that it starts to interfere more than a little bit, a little bit, okay. But if it starts to really interfere with that, then I think we have to talk about how to do that. And I like what Greg says, which I think is kind of brings us back to reality, that we can talk about, we can talk and engage with the less than 5% of the electorate living at the extremes of right and left. And the only problem with that is I don't know how to avoid them. I don't know how we can put them and say, you're pretty extreme, so we're not going to talk with you about it.
The answer is,
to Greg's point, most of the people that we encounter in the workplace probably will be somewhere within the realm of reason, even if we disagree with them.
By the way, the way you deal with those other 5% is called tranquilizers, and you keep reminding them that they're entitled to their wrong opinion.
Yes. So Back on track, Pam or Pamela, I don't know. I think she goes by Pam.
And by the way, Pam, shame on you.
Pam,
No, there's one before Pam. There's a question before.
well, wait, let's do one at a time. And I was going to take your thunder, Sanjay. Go ahead.
Pam, you just sent it to the panelists and not to everyone.
Yeah, we asked you to change that at the top. So Pam says we have a new director, which is an appointed position, and am not sure how the acting director feels about this new arrangement. The acting director is a manager for one of the programs I'm part of. What are your thoughts about handling this big move during our next meeting?
I'll say it again very carefully. No,
I think I need more information. I'm not quite sure.
I'm trying to understand the situation.
And
Pam,
if this is your meeting that you're running, or so if you can inform us a little more. But it seems like the acting director is getting ousted by this new director.
Yeah, it was the acting director, kind of an interim position, and he or she was not being considered for the full-time position or the permanent position, and now a new person has come in. Is that what we were understanding, Pam?
Yeah, just fill us in. Michael, do you want to read Stephen's? I think you were referring to Stephen Rayfield's question.
Sure, we will go back. We will go back to Pam.
Well, I've got it.
You got it?
I'll read it. How has the woke direction of culture impacted companies' training or approach to business for companies you have consulted with? The woke direction of culture.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for hard questions. Jeez.
Right.
Yeah, and this is multiple choice only questions, folks. Just A's, B's. You have to give us the multiple choice.
I'm gonna pick the easy question.
I mean, there's an assumption in the question, and that is that there is a woke direction of culture in a particular company, I'm assuming. And I know in some companies that might be the case, and others it would not be the case. In terms of the work that I do, and it's not because I tell people not to talk about those kinds of things, politics or everything that wokeness is connected to, but it literally does not come into the discussion in the training and consulting that I do. And maybe it's not because I've said, hey, don't listen, not what we're here to talk about, but in fact, it is not what we're here to talk about. We usually have something very specific to talk about, and it just doesn't enter into it. So however, I'll sometimes feel that, and I simply, as somebody, as a hired hand being brought in to provide a service to the organization, that's not what I'm being hired to deal with, so I just don't.
The other thing, though, too, is it's not, as speakers, you guys probably appreciate this. When you read the evaluations, over the years, if you do this long enough, you're going to get the most obscure, stupid remarks, right? He twitched his left ear too much. The color of his suit didn't match his shoes. Like they're ridiculous things. And I made a rule early on, knowing that people are going to complain about something. Everyone will complain about something. That unless I hear the same comment 2 or 3 times, I'll just ignore it, because that's one person's opinion. So, and what I'm trying to do is draw an analogy here too, is we keep coming through fads, constantly go through the workplace, and some of them last and some of them don't. And so sometimes when they're more extreme, I'm a believer of waiting them out and seeing what actually sticks around before you start changing things. Because a week from now, I'm obviously exaggerating when I say this, a week from now, people may forget what woke is. Because 2 years ago, no one was talking about woke. These days, yes. 6 months from now, I don't know what the landscape will necessarily be. So sometimes trying to be too proactive actually gets us running around chasing our own tail, and we're being really unproductive. So first, in this particular case on wokenesism, if someone came and said, hey, this is an issue, what should we do? I would say, just hop along slowly and see where you are in 6 months, and then see if you actually need to make any changes within the culture. That's my 2 cents on it.
I agree, because think about where this word or term came from. It was politically oriented, and it was made to be a negative term. I don't think it has to be a negative term.
Actually, my understanding is that it originated in popular usage with Barack Obama, and that it was in his usage a positive term. and then it has been taken to me. Generally, when you hear it, it's said in a negative sense.
So Greg is very angry with me because he couldn't even get his words out. It says not true, Jeff, I think, except he's got all those extra letters. So I'm open to criticism from you, Greg, not from any of these three guys.
And just to comment on Carol's point, this idea of no, the idea what she's saying is, just because one person has that opinion, does that mean their opinion doesn't count? No, not at all. Of course, every opinion counts. However, to what is the cost of incorporating that opinion? I mean, again, if you have to inconvenience everyone for one person, well, it's a decision you need to make. And in some cases, depending on what the person is asking for, it's very reasonable, and for sure you inconvenience everyone. But in other cases, if it's not that big an issue, then you move on.
I'm going to combine Greg and Fritz's comments because it's absolutely true. And Greg, I apologize. I didn't mean, I meant that it has become a negative.
It has generally when I hear.
Yeah. But if you're
keeping in mind,
you're woke, it simply means that you're aware, and you're absolutely right. And to Fritz's point, that it has enabled a part of society who has not been heard, who feel like they have not been, that they have been ignored, I want to be kind here,
to be included in the conversation, to be noticed.
Yes, they feel like they can be included in the conversation, even if they have nothing to.
Yeah, this term was first used back in, I think, 1962. It actually goes back a lot further.
Oh, really?
Than people think it was, and it's become, as people said, politicized. When I see those surveys, when people ask questions like, what word do you wish didn't exist, or didn't, woke would be at the top of my list, because it means so many different, or it's come to mean
so many different things for people,
and it's been weaponized by both the political left and the political right, which is unfortunate. Most of the definitions I see online and people talking about it are in fact very positive. They use it in a very positive way, and they're just talking about being more compassionate, being more human, like you said, being more inclusive and helping people gain a true sense of belonging and being seen and feeling like they're being heard. But then people, of course, use these extreme examples that they will cherry pick sometimes as examples to show, well, this is the path our society is going, or our workplace is going. So it's this charged term, right? So in terms of bringing this around to workplace culture, my hope would be that most cultures, of course, we talk about this all the time. I would hope, of course, cultures are working on being more human and compassionate and creating a sense of belonging for everybody who works for the company and all of their clients and customers and who they do business with. But maybe don't use the word woke ever in your stuff. Just talk about those other values. Talk about how we create a sense of psychological safety and belonging and compassion. We're going to be human, and we're going to be generous and kind and thoughtful. That's
along the last time I remember something being so politically weaponized, as you used the term, Michael, weaponized by the political left and the political right. I think we have to go back to Family Ties, and Alex P. Keaton was that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, let's get back to Pam's question, because she has done this the courtesy of answering our specific question,
but only to host some panelists again. So.
Okay, yeah, Pam, listen, we'll help you out here, but if you want to change that host and panelist to everybody, then everybody can see it. But what I see on my screen says the person that was ousted brought into the agency energy, positive interaction, employee and employer engagement. The new director is traditional. Hard to see her go. Yeah, it sounds to it sounds to me like there was not much input from the from the people who were working in the organization in terms of who the new director was going to be. So I guess the original question was, how would you handle that in your next meeting with the person? I'm trying to find the.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So here's what my knee-jerk reaction is.
Okay, I see the original question. Yeah,
if they brought in someone, if they did a replacement, someone did that replacement, and to what you're saying, Richard, that was maybe not an informed decision, And so what I would be looking to do is informing the people who made that decision that this is not cool and here's why. I wouldn't necessarily do it in a public forum. I would be approaching them kind of going, hey, who made this decision? How was it made? And why was it made? Because from the front line or from our perspective, this is what we have and this is what we're lacking and this is what we need to move forward. How do we resolve that? And
but if you don't have the authority to do that, I think that a conversation about values, you know, and vision, you know, asking the new director, maybe offline, but if they open themselves up to questions in front of the group, you know, can you explain a little bit about your vision for the organization or our team, or and that will tell you a lot about what culture they came from, what their expectations are. You may not have the authority or the authority to change anything. So just finding out what happened it may appease you, but I think to move forward, you've got to have that conversation and ask questions.
It sounds like there's a need for some overall communication that maybe didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
I think putting the bug in one or a few people's ears, whatever it takes, one-on-one conversations to say, we've got a lot of questions. To Jeff's point, everybody's wondering about this. Is there going to be some official communication? Can we have a conversation about what happened, what went down, why it happened? Because people are concerned and people are feeling the impact of this, and we just want to know.
Yeah, I mean, you almost owe it to yourselves and to the organization to raise it as an issue in a discreet way. I also, you know, I would approach it, and I don't, you know, perhaps, well, it's obviously you know a lot more about this incoming director than I do, but I'm assuming that you know quite a bit about this person. So I don't know, I would want to make sure that this person, the new person, got very clearly the message that these are the values that we appreciate. And I would go into it with the assumption that he or she is right on board with all of that. I know you said that they are traditional, and at the same time, they might embrace some of the things that you've been successful with. So I don't know if this person possesses a great deal of wisdom or not. If they do, I'm going to, just because I'm a positive, optimistic person, I'm going to assume positive intent. And I'm going to think, let's just let you know what we love about our organization, and we're glad you're here. Welcome, and we look forward to you leading us in the continued direction that we have been successful.
And building on our previous success.
Can I piggyback on that? Say, you know, because what she was writing is, you know, just a frontline person, and it almost sounds like, you know, they're the bigwig. And I think all four of us can attest to this, having worked with executives. They're just the same as the rest of us. They have insecurities. They want to be liked. They want to do a job. And although a lot of times these people put up a front that they're tough and they know everything, they actually do value feedback and direction and want to have an idea of how they can help and serve people. And most importantly, the higher up they are, the less of a frontline perspective they have. And so if we can inform them, and not in a cocky, arrogant kind of way, but in a, you know, in a vulnerable, in a inquisitive, like a truly, like asking a question is often a great way. The other thing too I found is when you're dealing with higher ups, starting off a conversation with, can I get your advice? Because they love to give advice, and often they have good advice, but you can stack the question in such a way that gets you a bit of your agenda. So can I get your advice? Because it's really important to me to have a culture where everyone gets to share their input and stuff. And I was wondering, what do you think the best way to implement that in this organization is? Right. So you're setting them up to give you the answer, but you're actually giving them an opportunity, and you're doing it in a humble kind of.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying it, but I think Pam should just quit. By the way, she figured out how to address all of us.
There you go.
Now to everyone.
And just that's great advice, Sanjay. And I would just add too, I think it's really, really helpful anytime you have a new manager, a new leader, a new boss come into an organization that you have to work with, even if they're not your direct boss or supervisor, just offering your support to say, hey, what can I do? You're new here. Can I do anything to be of service to you? How can I be of service to you? And how can I support you in your transition? You're probably going to have a lot of questions about our organization, about our
I think Pam wants us to stop talking about it because she's got to leave.
Just stop.
Yeah, she's got to go.
It's a great question.
That was very good. Thank you, Pam.
Carol's comment about
knock them dead in your next meeting.
Carol's comment about, Karen's suddenly finding themselves in the crosshairs is a great example of what I'm talking about. If your name is Karen and that's the new fad, you don't need to go legally change your name. What I'm saying, sit back, chill out a bit. 6 months from now, hopefully people will be more aware and realize the name is actually Michael and not Karen. They should be going.
I was just going to say Sanjay.
Oh yeah, Sanjay. Everybody's got a Sanjay in their lives.
Yeah. Here comes another Sanjay.
And Carol was piggybacking off of Rob's comment, and what Rob was saying is so true. There's these words, and I think it's because the media likes to sell things in very small packages, and so words, Karen, woke, whatever it might be, and that helps them to carry their message. And I think we all play a part in whether or not we promulgate that, whether we make that go on, or if we just kind of let it die a death.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. Last night I happened to watch part of the convention as I did a few weeks ago, just to say I'm an equal opportunity television watcher. And the saying that the party last night had is we're not going back, or we won't go back, or something. And this morning I went for a walk, and of course there's a T-shirt already. That's all it says.
There's a what?
Back. So it's I don't know. People are capitalizing on it, not just media, but obviously the media have the most influence.
Yeah. Do we have any new open items out there? Because I see one from Stephen. Have we got any earlier ones? I want to make sure we're covering these. We talked about wokeness. We talked about
we got it covered.
That Pam had. All right.
Keep going, Richard.
Okay, so Stephen says, what strategies can be implemented to improve employee well-being and mental health? With increasing awareness of mental health challenges, organizations need to prioritize employee wellness. What initiatives or policies can enhance well-being?
I have to take the low-hanging fruit joke. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The beatings will continue.
Until the
morale improves.
No, what I read into this, Stephen, is that what can we do in the short term and in the long term to improve the situation? And I think that where it has to start with is educating people who may never have suffered from mental health issues to a debilitating degree. They may not be familiar with people, have people in their families who have suffered greatly from mental health, to educate them and to destigmatize that this is a physical condition that manifests itself in an emotional and mental, with conditions and symptoms, to destigmatize that and help them to see that paying attention to someone's mental health has the very same kind of benefits as paying attention to someone's cardiac health or anything else like that. And I think some of us may be more aware of that than others. And I think we need to never let go of the opportunity to educate people that mental health is a physical condition that has a mental and emotional manifestation.
I think, great points, Richard. And I think there's so much more awareness than there was 20 years ago, certainly even 10 years ago. I think it starts at the top. It starts with leadership. It starts from your culture. One trend I've noticed, is just one example, is I do a lot of speaking at safety days, right? There's safety conferences, safety events. We're having our annual safety day. I've noticed in the last, probably starting about 10 years ago, they expanded it. So it's not just about physical safety, it's about mental health as well, mental wellness, mental safety. So efforts like that, starting at the top where leaders talk about it and where leaders are open with their struggles and when they're dealing with challenges, so that, as you said, we're not stigmatizing it, it becomes normalized. If you talk about it as a leader, it makes it safe for your employees to come up and share that they are struggling and they need support. One of my clients, I love this, they have a I Got Your Back award. And the award goes to not just people who look out for people's physical safety, but for people who look out for everyone's mental health and well-being as well. So there's initiatives like that. We know resilience is a huge topic these days, and that's certainly tied into mental health. The World Health Organization definition of burnout clearly puts the way they define it, and I talk about this in my last book, they talk about how it really starts with the culture. And that was an important shift, I think, because it puts the onus on the leadership and the culture rather than you have a problem, you need to go fix this.
Yeah.
The technical definition of burnout relates to the fact that it is an occupational thing that is driven by workplace culture. So you have a culture issue if you have employees burning out in your company.
It's a whole body approach, right? You know, go back to the 60s. It was you had your home life, you had your work life, and never the two shall meet. And we appreciate more and more. We even said that earlier. I was trying to make that point in a weird kind of way with the whole politics. If it's part of who you are, you need to express it. You can't tell someone, shut up, leave it alone, right? If you have a mental health issue, you can't say just fake it till you make it. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, put it in a box and pick it up at the end of the day and take it back home with you. It
doesn't work that way. Unlike your TV show, right, Michael?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that
go ahead.
One of the things that I love about
show where they had like some lobotomy thing done, so they went to work and then they at the end,
yeah. Then they get their frontal lobe back at the end of the day.
Severance, Severance. I love that show.
There you go. That's what I was
trying. Ding, ding, ding. Do I win a prize?
No, you maybe for being slow. But anyway, so I'm going to go back to this mental health thing. The whole body approach is so important, just like we do on the whole culture piece. What we're trying to say is, if you just go, oh, this group does culture, and this group does profits, and this group does environmental sustainability, it's not integrated. You actually have to bring it all together. And so to expect someone to be physically productive or professionally productive, but mentally not, it's like you're in customer service, you just had a fight with your significant other, and you have to come to work and put on a smile. You may be able to do it, and you might be able to do it for a short period of time, but you will burn out, and it's not sustainable. And the only way you can truly do that is have people drop their shoulders, be authentic, be real, and show up as they are. And part of that is the mental health piece.
You know, my wife asked me this morning why I keep doing this show, and I couldn't think of an answer. No, I'm kidding, because I love these three guys. But I do want to mention, I just realized it was an aha, because we have the smartest audience, I think, of any show. They're brilliant. And I just want to, point out, offering mental health first aid courses, I think is fantastic. Few of you do that. Jen says, increase the types of mental health support in our benefit package. Recently, I worked with a client who added mental health questions to their employee engagement survey, which they had never had before. So there, like I said, our audience is brilliant. Look at the suggestions and make sure everyone that you're reading these suggestions.
Yeah, it was a great question. And then, and it's not just, our audience is not just talking in generalities. Krista has said we've made mental health first aid a requirement. Jenny talks about what they're doing. Shannon, it talks about mental health first aid, and Jenny is reinforcing this by telling Shannon that she likes it. And then Fritz talking about this being part of an inclusive culture and so forth, resilience. So to Jeff's point, we're not just four pretty faces here, and
we are.
It's not it's not necessarily what we say and what we're bringing to it. What I am honored by is that this affords us the opportunity to bring together a community of really smart people who are not only smart, but I think really care about these kinds of issues. So I love every other Wednesday.
But we digress.
Can I read what Shelley wrote? Yeah. Questions. My grandma at 94 stated that she was woke. So we can't get out of that. But proudly, she woke up to what is changing in human interaction. So my definition would be very positive. And yet sometimes I mentally roll my eyes to the word dagnabbit. I don't know if she meant
that's one of my favorite words.
Dagnabbit, or
I think we should use that word a lot more.
That's a great.
I challenge everyone on this call to use that word once before we meet again. Okay.
You could do a drinking game with that word.
You wascally wabbit. Dagnabbit is probably a term that is more associated with my part of the country than with the other parts of North America that are represented on the screen. But yeah,
didn't Bugs Bunny invent that? Like, where does it come from, or is it right?
I thought it was a Southernism. I don't know.
So just one other thought on this burnout, mental health, resiliency thing. Gooder Sunglasses has this very cool approach, and I forget the terminology they use, but they started.
Wait a minute. What did you say about sunglasses?
Gooder Sunglasses, they're called.
It's a company. Richard.
It's a company name. Stay with me. It's a company name.
My sunglasses come from Walgreens, so I don't know.
So they have this approach to people to help alleviate mental health issues and burnout, and they have this system, this rating system. And I forget, one of them, you get into kind of the danger zone of overwhelm. But what's really interesting is they've tracked the causes of it. And they've broken it down even percentage-wise. And I can't remember the exact percentages, but they talk about a lot of it is just miscommunication. A lot of it is people not prioritizing things properly. But a really interesting one to me was that a significant percentage, what they found was this idea of hustling for self-worth. And this is very much a values thing where people feel like they have to bust their asses, put in overtime, work on the weekends for their own self-worth in order to be valued by their teammates, valued by their boss, valued by their company. And so trying to tackle that head on. And I think that's a really interesting concept.
Did they actually measure that somehow?
Yeah, well, they measured. Yeah, they broke down what the percentages were for the cause of people burning out and feeling overwhelmed at work. And so now they're trying to address it head on and encouraging people to speak up. And this is true with other workplace cultures I've seen too, where they really, really, really beat this drum that you have to speak up. You have to let us know. If you don't speak up, we don't know. We can't help you. We can't change what we need to change if you don't tell us. And you're not going to get in trouble for saying you're in the overwhelmed zone. In fact, you'll maybe get in more trouble with us if you hide it and pretend you're not in the overwhelmed zone.
I'd love to know more about this first aid, mental first aid kit, because it seems to me that's what they're trying to do, is equip the leaders so that people know how to handle it when they do say I'm overwhelmed, or
I know we're coming up.
There has to be training that goes along with that.
I know we're coming to the end of the clock here, but the other piece of that is there are people who legitimately need help and are overwhelmed, and then there are people who scam the system, and they go, I know that I can get a free day off work and go to the baseball game if I just say I'm overwhelmed, and that's it's a fine line and a balance that you need to walk. You want to legitimately help people, but at the same time, you don't want to be taken advantage of or have people taking advantage of the system. So that's probably another talk for another day.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Krista has just helped answer the question about mental health first aid.
Thank you.
She has sent us to a website,
awesome.
mentalhealthfirstaid.org. Right.
And it's an internationally recognized program. Perfect. Guys, as usual, we've run out of time.
What?
Yeah, can you believe it?
You mean in general or just for this show?
And just for this show.
For this show, yeah.
Okay. But any last thoughts? Or does our audience have any last thoughts?
Again, do you mean for this show or in general? Because I'm
just in general. Yeah.
Yes, just for this.
I'm trying to waste 1 minute.
It proves once again that a couple of times a year we can really add value to what we do here by simply asking our audience.
Especially when none of us have thought of a program idea. Ooh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Guys, I need your attention. When is our next get together? Richard, do you remember? You know the date?
I know exactly what it is. It is, it's September the 4th.
It is.
Which is,
and do you know what that is?
2 days after Labor Day in the U.S. Is it the same in Canada, Labor Day?
Yes. Can I keep talking? Because do you know what that is?
It's 2 days after I'm done FedEx.
Nope. Oh. It is our 100th episode.
Oh, all right.
And we're going to make it special. So
are we?
I'm going to be here with my party hat and everything. So I hope everybody will be here, and bring everybody you know. Wouldn't it be great to have 100 people in our audience for our 100th show?
think about this, 100 episodes we've done. I'm tired. I don't know about you, but still loving it and loving being with you.
It energizes me.
We will try to put our heads together and come up with a special show for our 100th show. And
we will.
As Richard says, please invite somebody just for this one show and help us out. So
invite your grandma.
Thank you all for sticking around, sticking with us. I think Carol has been to 99 of the 100 shows. So thank you, Carol. Yeah. And there are others as well. So I look forward to September the 4th. And when do we get together, Richard?
I think we get together every other Wednesday.
We do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.